What's up everybody, welcome to my shop, and today's review is on the Dewalt DCW210 brushless random orbit palm sander. So this has been available since earlier this year, I believe. I got mine in about April, and it has been a great sander. I've used it a ton. It's not too heavy, although I definitely prefer using the 1.5 amp hour or the 2 amp hour batteries on it over the 5 amp hour. The 1.5 is my favorite to use on it. So I've done some runtime tests with it. And with this battery, it runs just under 14 minutes. That was with 80 grit sandpaper on 7th speed, and I did not take any breaks. I ran it from a fully charged, fresh off the charger, right down to where it was almost stopping and eventually timed out, or whatever you call it. With the 2 amp hour, it ran for 19 and a half minutes. So that's a bit more proportionately over the 1.5 amp hour. Now power wise, yeah, it's definitely more powerful with the 5 over the 1.5, but it seems like the 1.5 vibrates the least. Because in here, you can see right here, there's no piece of rubber. Most of the other new Dewalt tools that I've gotten have a little piece of rubber there so that the battery doesn't bounce around. Whereas this one's missing those 2 pieces of rubber. So with this battery, it makes a ton of vibration and makes it very difficult to hold on to. Not the entire charge, like I find when there's about 2 bars left, it makes the most vibration for some reason. I don't know why, but that's when it makes the most vibration. Now I'm sure you could find these 2 pieces of rubber at a parts store, or you could even find the diameter and get a rubber tube and just cut a 2 little pieces and put it in there, and it will stop the battery from vibrating, and it will make it a lot more comfortable. But anyway, I'm now going to show you the performance. This is 80 grit sandpaper, and it has 7 speeds, so I'll show you each separate speed with the 5 amp hour. And the one thing I really like about this sander is there is an instant brake on the pad. And that's really nice, because with standard sanders without the brake, you kind of have to hold them and let them spin down, and it takes a few seconds. Whereas this one, you can put it right down, because it stops instantly. So it does come with an airlock dust bag, and I'm assuming you could get an adapter for this, for a standard vacuum, because I've tried putting my standard vacuum hose on this and it doesn't fit. You have to have the Dewalt airlock vacuum to connect to this without an adapter. I've never looked for that adapter, but I'm sure it's available somewhere. This is just a piece of pine, scrap piece of pine. So I'll show you the amount of power this has. This is on 7th speed right now. Just in case you're wondering, this battery has 2 bars in it, and as you can see, it was very jumpy, which I find is quite normal with this 5 amp hour battery. This time I had my hand on the 5 amp hour battery and it wasn't as jumpy. So that was speed 7. So now, just for power testing, I'll put it on speed 6. And the speed on this is 12,000 OPM, whatever that means, max, and 8,000 minimum. So on speed 1 it will be spinning at 8,000, and on speed 7 it will be spinning 12,000. So 7 speeds may not really be necessary, but it's nice to have all the selection. So this is speed 5. Speed 4. And it seems like there's a half speed in between each, so you can go 3.5. That was 3.5 in case you're wondering. This is 3. 2. 1. Maybe if we have a smaller, more delicate piece of wood we want to sand, speed 1 might be better. But 100% of the time mine is on speed 7 unless I happen to flick the speed dial by mistake. And that's pretty unlikely because it's a stiff dial. It doesn't flop around. And just in case you're wondering, this is brushless, and it does have the rubber guard over the switch. So now I'm going to do a power test. It probably won't be visible power between this 2-bar 5 amp hour battery, this 2 amp hour battery with 2 bars, and this 1.5 which is fully charged. And this is used 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to apply the same pressure. So this is 7th speed. There's the 5 amp hour. For some reason, it's kind of difficult to swap batteries on this particular sander. I don't know why, but it's just not as smooth as the old battery housing, or even the new battery housing with the piece of rubber at the front. There's the 2, and here's the fully charged 1.5. So you can definitely hear the difference with the 1.5, with the fully charged 1.5 over the partially charged 2. So this one may still be more powerful if it was fully charged. I'll get the fully charged one. Here's the fully charged 5 amp hour battery. Got all 3 bars in there. So definitely more power and maybe a bit more speed, but more vibration, and it just feels more comfortable with the compact battery. Another thing with the 5 amp hour battery is when you put it down, it kind of leans back. If you knocked it, it could easily tip. However, with any battery, if you wanted, you could, and you didn't have the dust bag on it, you could put it like that. So this is a great tool. I've used it a lot. I've probably sanded about 300 boards or something with it, and a lot of other stuff. It's really good grip. I like how it's lower and not a tall palm sander, like it's low. And the dust bag is great. Like, there's still a lot of dust and you have to empty it quite frequently, but it's better than nothing, especially if you're using 120 grit. And it's definitely got the power of the corded I used to use. I hadn't used the Dewalt corded, but I've used the Ryobi corded and a Bosch corded. And with the 2 pieces of rubber in there, it would be that much better, because it is annoying when it's vibrating. It's really hard to hold on to, or if you're holding on to your workpiece, it vibrates that a lot, and it makes that hard to hold on to. It's really light, bare tool. I would say less than 1 kilogram, 2 pounds. And this will work with all your other 20 volt max or 18 volt power tools. It doesn't matter if it's an XR battery or a non-XR battery. Another thing I found out is it seems that 18 volt and 20 volt are compatible. There will be a video coming soon on that because I've ordered some 18 volt XR tools, and I'll see how good they run off these 20 volt max batteries. So far I have the 18 volt European charger, and I've been charging these Canadian 20 volt max batteries. So stay tuned for that video if you're interested. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.